So I started looking at Collaborate from a payroll point of view, and I just thought I'd just tell you where my journey started with it and where we're actually at now in the payroll processing team. So we do payroll for lots of different companies, as I'm sure you know. We are a service provider. So we use Collaborate to share all of our payroll reports with our customers. And when I started using it, it just was amazing. I started thinking about, well, we can actually use this with auditors now. So anyway, I'll take you in and I'll go through the setup with you, and you can start looking at it and thinking of it from not just a payroll processing point of view, but you'll start to see you can roll this out across your whole business. So departments can use it. You can use it with third parties. So just put that in the back of your mind that it doesn't just have to be used for payroll. So how we get started is under the Access button, you can come in and you can see your products. And under products, you'll have Collaborate. And the other major thing when I first started using it that impressed me was that all of us that do payroll and HR roles, we're drummed in, don't share information with anyone, keep information private and sensitive. And when we use things like SharePoint and things like that, we generally have an administrator at the site who can still see everything. With Collaborate, if you don't give the admin access to your folder, no one can see it. And that's when I started going, wow, I really do like this, that it doesn't look all glossy and shiny, but what it does give us is a really secure environment that you control. So when you need to add a new site, for instance, and we'll go through that in a moment, you actually say who can see this information and what is their role. And you can change it at any time. You're in control of this area. So when I say everyone can have it, like all of the products in the Evo suite, you go in as a member and you set that member up and you can say they can use Collaborate. So any member can then go in and create their own folders and their own tasks. So I'll just take you in and just do a quick walkthrough of the areas that we generally are using. So the main one is sites. So we call that our folder listing here. And what you can see here when you look at it is you see who created the site. And you can see over here just a little bit of a run through. So you can see how many folders are in each site, how many documents, and here's most importantly, how many members. It normally wouldn't look like this in the real world, but because we use this for our pilot program, we wanted everyone to have access to everything. So we'll just go in and we'll create a site really quickly, and I'll just show you how easy it is to use. So if I want to create a site, we'll just call this People Team, so it's something a little bit different. Now you can just create an invite to every single person in our Evo pilot group, but in this case I don't want to do that. I'm just going to create a site, and at the moment there is just myself as a member in there. If I want to add other people, all I need to do is come in and invite people. Here we can invite existing users in our organisation, and what the organisation means is our Evo environment. So they have to be a member in our Evo. So if I want to add, let's just pop in here and say Sarah. There's Sarah. I can click on Sarah, and here I can create a user role for her. So she could be an administrator of the site, a collaborator, which is what most of us are, or you may have the need for someone that is read only. So I'll set Sarah up as collaborator, and when I click in here and finish, what's happening is Sarah's going to get an email, and it will actually let her know that she's been added to this site. So here's a little brief description, and we pop these descriptions in on all of the areas when you're setting up, so you can actually see what you actually want to do when you give someone access to an area. So creating sites is really quite simple, and you can create many sites. And as I say, you might want to create one for your team. You might want to create one just for a task. You might have like the payroll checking team, for instance. They might be people outside your group. So if you do want to add someone outside the organisation, and we do have this come up with auditors, you might want to have a group set up for the auditing team. Anyone with an email address, you can type in their email address up here and add them, and they're what we call a guest to the Evo site. So this is where you can start really thinking about, well, it is like SharePoint. You can share things with people outside an organisation in a nice, safe way. You can control when they can and can't see it and what they can and can't do. So lots of different areas across the business would find that useful. So once you've created a site, you can go in and you can update, you can upload documents into here. So with Payroll, I've just come into one of our payroll sites. Like a lot of payroll people, what we tend to do is create financial years and we save things into our financial year folder. So here you can actually click on any of these documents and you can download them. They're stored in there for as long as you want. They don't get automatically deleted. So that's another thing with some sites. After 6 months or something, if you haven't used it, it will come through and do a sweep and delete things. This system doesn't delete things. You actually have to delete them yourself. When you do delete a document, it will email everyone in that site to let them know that you have actually deleted something. But another thing you'll see here is you've got new versions. So what happens is if you're doing a payroll check and there might be changes, someone can actually say, look, I've got these changes. Can you make those changes? You don't need to create another whole section. What you can just do is come in here and click new version and upload the document, and then they can check on the same area. And you can actually then go in and view old versions of the document. So that way you've got a whole history of the payroll from when you first ran it and checked it all the way through to when it's actually been approved. So I find that quite handy as well, so you can track, changes that have been made between versions. You also can create tasks. So quite often when we're doing payroll, we do like people to actually get engaged with us. And I might check the payroll and then it's got to go off to someone in the people team or finance or even overseas to a treasury department to have them view the documents and do their part of the process. So you can actually create a task and have someone assigned to do it with an end date. So I have got some tasks already created, and when we come back in here, we can see my tasks over on the side. So I've got some tasks in here, and you can see some have been completed. It tells me when they're due and if they're overdue, which you would hate to see your EFT for the casual payroll not processed at this point in August, and it was due in July. But anyway, you can get the idea of it. And what happens is you can come in here at any time, you can delete it. You can open it up, you can change your due dates, you can also update the progress, you can assign it to someone. So if you've got more than one person in the team that needs to check something or do banking, you can assign it to the individuals and they can actually have that come through into their feed. There will be a whole section on, a whole session on feeds coming up shortly, and Sarah will be presenting that with me, and we've got a lot to show you and how we're very excited about what feeds can do. But where your feeds are is under the Access button. There's a button down here. So any activity that happens during Collaborate or Applause or even areas in Definitiv will come into that feed. And it's just an area you can quickly access things. So another major part about Collaborate is you can add any document in here and you can have it be attached to Copilot. So I'm just going to go in and show you an area that Sarah has set up. She's come in here and she's put in some company awards and agreements that we have. So how she's actually uploaded them is you come to the site and you click Upload Document. From here, you go in and you browse. And I'll just pick on one of these ones. We'll pop this one in. You can put a description in, which we probably would do, but you can just imagine you might want to upload your company payroll policies and procedures, parking policies, your EAs, if you've got any type of information at all that it's relevant to your employees where they might like to search. And you can pop them in here. You can notify anyone in the site that you've attached a new document. I won't do that because it will email out to 85 people, but you can also just go one by one. So again, if I just want to let Sarah know I've added this, I will just pop in Sarah's name. Down the bottom here, I have a button that says make it available in Copilot. By ticking that button, Copilot now has that information when I click on save and I can do searches on it. So I'm just going to click on save. And it's uploading that file now. So you can see there's quite a few files in there. Anytime you see this symbol, that means Copilot can now see that document and it can search on it. And here you can see that we've actually had a few people come in and add some tasks. And this is actually a great way of actually using the tasks area because it's very quick and easy to forget something. So I'm just going through here looking, these are our 24 pay guides and these are our 25. So Julie's come in here and she's put a little reminder in here of herself to actually update the award. So that's just an example of how you can use them. I'll just come up the top again. Sorry, just be one moment. So you can create tasks in there. And just another quick way to show you how you can get around is everything that's in green is clickable. Okay, so when you click on something, and sometimes you get into a site that's got lots of levels. So down here, if I click down here, you'll see that the stream up the top gets quite long. So if I just want to take a shortcut and go back to financial year, I click on financial year and it takes me back to that level. So anything here in green is hyperlinked and it saves you time having to drill down. So the big part about Collaborate is setting tasks, having private and confidential sites that you have access to and you can control who can and can't see those. If you do want someone to actually, stop someone having access to the site, you can just come in and you can actually change that to no access, just simply anytime remove people out of that group. So very easy to use. You can actually see here that I now have a red dot up here. That red dot is actually what's linked to my feeds. So it means something has been triggered that is coming through into my feed. So it's because I have uploaded a document. So again, from the feeds, I just want to show you how quickly it is. I can just click on here and go view document and it takes me straight to that source. I don't have to go into Collaborate and then go through and find the right site and that document. Okay, so we're talking about Copilot. I'm not going to go into Copilot in great detail today. We are going to go through it in a whole session on its own. But because we've been talking about EVO Docs, I just wanted to show you how we can actually search on things that we've put into EVO Docs. So we've uploaded quite a few awards into there. And what we do is we can just ask a question. So I've got in here for the call center technical associate from the awards clerk, what's their pay rates? And what EVO does is it's looking, I've actually asked it to look in EVO Docs only for this. It then comes up and it tells us what it's found, where it's found it, and it gives us some really good detail on what, well, here we can see straight away, we've got full-time, part-time, what their rates are. It gives me so much information, Saturdays, Sundays, if there's any shift worker related information for that role, and if we've got junior rates. These are hyperlinks back to the document that you can click on at any time. So I've got a couple of other different examples in here. So if you just wanted to know, I've just put in here, what is the rate for a professional level 4? Now we have a lot of awards in there. So what it's done is it's come in and it's told me what it believes it has found and where it's found it. But it's also telling us you might be able to find this in these other documents as well. So again, it's leading us to the source information, which is actually saving you time at the end of the day. And I've just popped in another one in here, just about another clerk, and another role, what their class is, and again, you can click on here and take you straight through. So by using EVO Docs or Collaborate, by popping in documents that your employees can then search on, it's saving everyone time. It stops them coming to you. So if you've got your policies in there, your EA, and it says, you know, they might want to look up at a meal allowance rate, for instance, they can type that in and it will come back and tell them what their meal allowance rate is. We've used the example before about, you know, parking. Do we have parking, or what are our meeting room names? So it's all that type of information that they can type in and it will give them that information on the go. So that's where I was going to wrap up today.